If you want to know why the construction industry has the highest insolvency rate out of any industry, what is the biggest problem in the construction industry, this is the video for you. So this is an internal training that we give to some of our staff when they're joining so they get an understanding of the construction industry. This is definitely going to be helpful for you guys. Hi, my name is Cian Brennan. I'm the CEO of Contract Solutions. The reason we make these videos is there's so many construction companies out there that lose money left and right because they don't understand what's in their contract, and hopefully by watching these videos and the podcast, you're going to learn from all the mistakes of other people and not make those mistakes and grow as a construction company. So if you get any value from this, please subscribe and like, and we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Enjoy.
Okay, let's talk about the contractual hierarchy and who's who in the zoo. Who are we all talking about? How do we refer to people? Let's get it right now, so when we're talking in future lessons, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so very simply, what we've got here is what's called the contract hierarchy. Now, before we start, this is one analogy that you're going to need to learn to be able to understand. This is like the crux of the construction problem. Okay, so I'm going to use the analogy of building a bridge. Okay, so the owner, right, the guy at the top of the food chain. Let me just walk through the food chain. You got the guy at the top of the food chain, can be called loads of different names, right? Owner, principal, client, whatever. It can be lots of different things. Now, these guys at the top of the food chain, their goal is a thing. They want the finished product. That's what they want, right? So if it's the government, they want a bridge built. If it's an oil and gas company, they want oil and gas plant built. If it's a developer, they want a set of apartment blocks built. House builder, houses built. They want the thing. They want the end product. These are the guys that it's their project, they want it, okay? So what they do is they go to tender, they go to market, and they go to bid, right? We go, right, here's the project. I want to build a bridge. You guys, I know, have built bridges in the past, and I want you guys to bid, tender on this project, right? Now, these guys are typically called tier ones, right? So you got tier ones, which I'll explain who they are. So they will all tender to win the whole project. One company will win the whole project more often than not. These guys are called tier one construction contractors. In the States, it could be called general contractors, but generally tier one, everyone understands what tier one is, okay? Tier one contractor is that guy who wins the work. Now, these type of companies are actually, they're still called construction companies, but they're typically finance type companies insofar as the way they make money is that they get a huge loan to pay for the work to be done, and then they get paid by the owner or the principal for the work done, and then the difference between the two is how they make money, okay? But the goal of the tier one is to make money. It is not the outcome of having the thing. That's the owner's goal. The tier one is to make money, okay? So typically finance company. Now what they do is they then turn around all of the work to the individual trades. So tend to be specialist construction companies. So civil companies, scaffolding companies, fabrication companies, steel fabrication companies, excavation companies. These are the guys that actually do the work, okay? Now, there are the three different tiers of people. Of course, you can go down to a tier 3, where the subcontractor is subcontracting down, in the example of an excavation company. They might lease their equipment. They might have a lease agreement with, for diggers and all sorts of stuff, right? So that's another layer then. But for the purpose of what we're talking about here, we got owner, tier 1 and tier 2. Now, in this whole game, right, where the contracts things get tricky is the owner and the tier 1. You can see that green line there, right? Owner and tier 1 will have a reasonably tough contract, but the thing is they both have in-house law teams, contract teams, and they'll negotiate a contract that they believe is fair. Might be risky, but it's fair, right? In their eyes, because both, they've agreed on it with lots of experts on either side. Now, what happens is the tier 1, in order to remove some of the risk from himself, will push the risk down onto the tier 2s. And the way he does that, or she does that, is he makes the contracts between themselves and the tier 2s to be way more aggressive than the one that they've signed up the way with the owner. And the result of that is the risk is kind of pushed down. It means that if anything bad happens, it's kind of absorbed at that tier 2 level, and it doesn't impact the tier 1 up the way for them getting paid. That's the whole purpose. Now, the problem in the industry, and it's where we help, is that the tier 2s typically haven't got the resources, the time, or the expertise to be able to deal with reviewing those contracts and negotiating. They haven't a clue sometimes, basically, right? And they end up signing a contract, something goes wrong because there's more risk pushed onto them, and it's more likely to go wrong for them because there's more risk pushed onto them, and then they end up losing a lot of money or going out of business. Okay? So our job is to help those tier 2 contractors be way more professional and sign better contracts at the end of the day, so they stay in business and lose less money or make more money, whatever way you want to look at it. Now, for the whole purpose of this whole training, right, and the reason I've chosen this terminology is because this is how the contracts, when they're written, this is how they refer to each other, okay? It's not owner, tier 1 and tier 2, right? That's just the easiest way to describe it. It is principal at the top, the company, and the contractor. So in most contracts we have, right, it'll be between the company and the contractor. And when you're actually looking at the contracts themselves, the company will be defined as the name of that tier 1, and the contractor will be defined as the name of the tier 2. So when we're talking about the two of them, when I refer to the company, I'm talking about, the tier 1. When I talk about the principal, I'm talking about the guy who owns the whole project. And I'm talking about the contractor, I'm talking about our guys, our friends, the guys that are doing the real work at the end of the day. And they're our boys, and they're the guys that we are looking to help. Anything that makes sense, please shout out. Obviously, as always, what I want you to do here now is I want you to record a Loom video. I want you to explain, using an analogy, the contracts hierarchy. Then I want you to explain what each person does and what we're referring to people, principal, the company, and the contractor. So I know that you're completely clear and everything else going forward. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll see you soon. Bye.